Wow, 7 o'clock.
Hello there.
Oh, there.
Hi.
Heidi.
Welcome to this very last council meeting in 2023. And we're nearly all here. We have got apologies for absence from Councillor Stutchbury, who may be online, and Councillor Davies, and do we have any other Councillor Collins? And Councillor Collins. So that's apologies for absence. We have mince pies. This is instead of Christmas cards, so we have as I was saying earlier, I reckon mince pies taste better.
It's right back.
Do we have any declaration of interest that we don't know about already? No, okay. In that case, we have got agenda point number 3, the minutes to agree as a correct record, the minutes of the meeting of the full council meeting held on the 30th of October. You should all have seen them. Are we happy to agree those?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, and then to agree as a correct record, the minutes of the interim council meeting held on the 27th of November.
Agreed.
All agreed. Then to receive the minutes of the planning committee meetings held on 9th of October, 6th of November and 27th of November.
Yes, now if I may present those, with the exception of the 27th of November, they haven't actually been before the planning committee yet, so town clerk has drawn those from the agenda. So I present to the council minutes of the planning committees 9th of October and the 6th of November.
You happy to accept it?
Yeah, thank you.
We then have the minutes of the town centre and events committee meeting held on the 25th of September.
I present to you the minutes, Town Centre Events Committee held on the 25th of September. Are you happy to receive them?
Yeah, thank you. We are to note a recommendation. Yeah, we are to note the town centre and events report on the role of the lead councillor. I know in the report or in the paperwork you have, it says note and discuss. That is because it is the same paperwork that went to TC&E committee. We are here only noting it. It's already been discussed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Noted.
And to receive the minutes of the environment committee held on the 2nd of October. Rubina, are you happy to present those?
Yeah, I'm happy to present the minutes for the Environment Committee.
Okay. We're happy to, are we happy to receive them?
Yeah.
Then, agenda item number 9, bank signatories to form 8, resources committee. My apologies. Yes, you know, I need to eat them in spice in the red helps. To receive the minutes of the resources committee held on 16th of October.
There's nothing that's come out of this one, so present those.
Yeah. Would you
Agreed.
take them as agreed?
Thank
you. And now to formally agree the bank signatories as Councillor Schaefer, Councillor Cole, Councillor Stutchbury, Councillor Davies and Councillor O'Donoghue, sorry, and agree the signing schedule in Appendix A.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
thank you. So now we come to some slightly more substantial items. Number 10, the Pride flag, to receive a report from the town clerk.
Thank you. This report, and I hope that it doesn't seem in any way that I was attempting to undermine Councillor Willett's motion. This is really to provide some background before his motion, just discussing the costs and the implications as.
Yeah, okay. So then, has everybody read that report? Yeah, are you familiar with the content? Good. Then, point number 11, and motion from Councillor Willett.
Oh, there's a recommendation for that.
Oh, so there is. So there is.
There is no, sorry, I was a little bit different as to how the best way to present that was. So that's my recommendation, but I think they should be taken in context with Councillor Willett's motion as well.
Yeah. So how do we? Yes, councillor Harvey.
I would say, I mean, whether it's a day or a month is implicit in Ryan's motion.
Yes,
So I'm wondering whether we should just go on to next business and address those recommendations as part of the discussion on the motion, otherwise it's going to get.
yeah, I think that is
It's
sensible.
why we propose next business in effect.
Yeah, I think that is sensible. Yeah, that is sensible that we discuss these recommendations in connection with councillor Willett's motion. Please,
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
okay, sorry.
Oh.
Apparently, the proposal, so that was a proposal from councillor Harvey
I'll second.
and seconded by councillor O'Donoghue. Everybody in agreement? Yeah, okay. In that case, you get to your motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As town council, we believe equality, diversity and inclusion are the pillars on which Buckingham towns stand strong. Flag raising is one of the ways we can show this support for our local residents and show how, as a town council, that we can be inclusive and welcoming to all members of our wonderful town. The council therefore agrees that the LGBTQIA flag, seeking necessary permissions if required, be raised on the 1st of June for a month, with exceptions to other days that may have flags to be raised, to support the LGBTQIA+ community within Buckingham Town and the wider nation.
Thank you. So again, to make matters more complicated, you are essentially proposing two things. The report from the town clerk is splitting those. So your proposal or your motion is to extend the period for which we fly,
Yeah.
and also to fly a different flag. Are you willing to, I don't know how we do this now that we take it apart, are you willing to discuss this in two steps?
Of course, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Do we need to formally amend the motion for that, or is it okay if we just, let's discuss it first, let's discuss the first part. Yes,
I was
councillor.
going to say, I'll second the motion. At that point of order, I think we can discuss the final form of this motion by amendments in the usual way.
Okay, thank
Because the
you.
motion says it's expanded the flag for a month.
Yeah,
If we change that, then we do that by amendment in the usual way.
okay, thank you. So then let's take the point of extending the period for which the flag is flown. Yeah, no, that's the right word, isn't it? From a day to the month of June, which is quite customary across many parts of the country. So both things, I think, yes, Councillor Watson.
Once I've sympathised that we do fly for a longer period, I personally think that flying for a month is too long. But nothing against buying a new flag, but I think the period should be a lot shorter than 1 month, maybe up to. I'm quite happy with the 1 day, because that gives it more significance that we are changing the flag for a month for that particular day. To have it flying for a month, it just becomes part of the general scenery. Maybe we could put on some sort of event to highlight the problems, or even have a stall on the market to make people aware. Now we'll leave that to Councillor to decide what he wants to do, but I would rather stay with flying the flag for a day.
Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor. As a past mayor and as a magistrate, I've been a strong advocate for equality, diversity and inclusion throughout my civic career. I wholeheartedly support recognising the LGBTQIA+ month within Buckingham by flying the Pride flag on June 1st, but I question why the flag should be flown for the whole month when there are so many other flag and awareness days. There's over 100 nationally in June alone. So I support the continuation of flying the Pride flag on June the 1st, but not for the whole month.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Drayton.
I was just going to say that I agree with flying it for a month. I feel that the duration of Pride Month should be recognised, and that although it's great that we are flying it for a day currently, and I agree there are more things that we could maybe do, maybe have an event. That actually the town supporting the LGBT plus community should become part of the background. It should be seen as that's the norm of Buckingham. It shouldn't just be on a special day we're going to show that we support you guys. It should be that people of any background feel welcome in our town on any day, not just one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree with the councillor Cole and councillor Donald. We should only fly for one day. We fly all the other flags for one day. The Commonwealth, the Merchant Navy, the Armed Forces. We should not be made an exception because they have all equal rights to have their flag flown. So we should just keep it for one day. Thank you.
I guess the question is, if it was Commonwealth month, I'd be saying we should apply for Commonwealth month. And if it was Armed Forces month, then I'd be advocating it for that. And if there was a pride event on one particular day, always in Buckingham, on say, I don't know, June the 14th, then I would say let's fly for that day. But the nationally accepted period for national pride is the month of June, the whole month of June. It is Pride Month. It's not Pride Day, it's Pride Month. And therefore, I think if we were just going to fly for one day, that would be seen to be a bit odd and possibly exclusive rather than inclusive, which is what we're seeking to do. So I'm a really strong advocate that we carry on flying with the town council flag. We don't take that one away. If there are other flags, like the Armed Forces flag that needs to go up, fine, swap it on that day. But I would say, for the sake of consistency and joining in with the rest of the country, it does make sense to fly for the whole month because it is Pride Month. That's what it's been designed to be. The other days there are days. I don't know of any other months. I'm sure people will enlighten me if there are, but I think if we were to stand apart from that, it would look strange, and I would really counsel the council from doing that, because I think that would backfire on us potentially and backfire badly, and I don't want that. I want us to be an inclusive council in the way that Councillor Cole has just described.
Councillor Willett.
Just picking up on the point of the flying it for the month, there is also a motion later in the agenda, which I believe in the motion that we're discussing now, saying that we can, we should celebrate every single, day that's coming through. Another thing is just to pick up on the point that Councillor Harvey raised, there is actually Black History Month as well. I think we've forgotten that one, which is widely celebrated across Britain in schools and things like that. Granted, we don't raise a flag for that yet, but who knows, maybe in the future. But I do think that as the motion stands, my personal feelings are that, the fact that we're also giving way to other days that are potentially coming up, as the next motion says, I can't see it being a problem myself.
Okay. Councillor Donald.
Thank you. As we're here speaking on behalf of our residents, I just wondered through you, Chair, if any members have had any feedback or comments or suggestions from members of the public on this, or is it just that we're discussing it here? Has there been anything online, on social media, anything like that?
Okay, we've got Councillor Willett and then Councillor Harvey.
Just to respond to that one, I know that the Florence Nightingale shop, they decorated it the front of their store for Pride Month, so they were keenly supporting Pride Month for that month. Also, I've had many conversations with various members of Buckingham Town, met with various citizens, and they would actually like to set up, maybe down the line, a Pride committee to, celebrate one day of Pride eventually in the future. But alas, we have to develop those plans.
Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, so the discussions I've had with people are that it's Pride Month. And therefore the flag should be up at the whole month. That's certainly what I picked up from talking with people over the last few years, really. And we did, I think we did do it last year for the month anyway, did we not? Just at one point we were going to, and then we didn't. I think it's important that we do it for a month, as I said that already.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think, having listened to the discussions, I think a key point we need to understand is why do we fly the flag? What's the purpose behind that? I'm someone who's very cautious of playing precedents. If the essence of flying the flag is to show solidarity, listen to what Councillor Harvey said, I would say then the monthly argument will be there. But also Councillor Willett has just said that there are other events that are monthly as well. So how many flags are going to be flying in the month of June? So I think it's the issue of the precedents that I'm concerned about. I'm not sure if the clerk can give us some clarity as to why we fly the flag and what's the rationale behind that to guide our deliberation as to why we should consider extending the
Good point.
Councillor Driver, just to go back to what Councillor O'Donoghue was saying about public feeling. I walk a lot around Buckingham, and I've noticed over the last couple of years there's been an increasing amount of homophobic graffiti that has become more and more prevalent around Buckingham. I've got a lot of friends who have young children in schools in Buckingham, and the homophobia is on the rise again, unfortunately. Although we want Buckingham to be an inclusive, safe environment for people of all genders and sexualities, ages, religious beliefs, it's increasingly becoming not that way. And that's why I believe, and in line with what Councillor O'Donoghue was saying, it is about showing not just solidarity, but about showing that we're welcoming and that we're supportive and that we're not just paying lip service to oh, well, everyone else is doing it, so yeah, we'll stick up a rainbow flag through there. Not suggesting for 1 minute that that's what the council are doing, but that to some members of that community who are stigmatised or who have been at the receiving end of abusive behaviour, that we are here for the whole of the community, for the whole of the month, not just for the start there.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I actually listened to the arguments. I would be in favour of having it up for the whole month. Because I think, you know, we do need at this point to sort of show that we are much more inclusive than in all areas. So this would be one area to show it in, but I do also think we should do something. I mean, flying the flag is some sort of a symbol, but I think that someone clever than I needs to think what we could be doing about this, because it's certainly about Pride Month, but there's also anti-Semitism, there's anti-this, there's anti-that. There's a lot of lack of inclusion. So I think it would be great if somebody could think what we should be doing to actually, as well as flying the flag.
Councillor Harvey?
That's something that perhaps the Equality and Community Diversity Working Group could take on board and maybe think about something that could be done. So we're already thinking about events in that working group, and this might be a focus as well. Because there cannot be any hierarchy of discrimination. So let me be very, very clear about that. Because if we prioritise one form of discrimination over another, that is discrimination in itself, and therefore it is impossible to have a hierarchy of discrimination. All forms of discrimination are equally bad and equally need to be counted. And like I repeat again, it's Pride Month. To do it just for a day would be seen to be tokenistic and inconsistent with our overall approach and what we said in the past as a council.
I think there was a question to the town clerk earlier.
There sort of was, I mean, I would say from my point of view, this isn't something that the office has much of an opinion on. This is very much a decision of the councillors as to how you would like. Certainly the question of how long it's up, something that there's an office to have an opinion on. The flying a new flag, I would have a stronger recommendation. You fly the flag as you've all very eloquently already discussed. It's there to show your support for that community in the town. The decision as to whether or not that support is adequately expressed by having it for 1 day, or if councillors feel that it should be for the full month. And there are good arguments on all sides which have been which have been put forward already, so I don't really have anything much to say.
Thank you. I'm getting a sense we might be ready to go for the, on the vote for this one. So, we have a proposal that we, as part of the motion, that we fly the flag for a month instead of the day that we currently do. That was proposed by Councillor Willett and seconded by Councillor Harvey, I believe. So therefore, can we go? Yeah,
Just with exceptions to other, yeah.
with exceptions, on days when there are other flags that need to be flown. Yeah. Okay, so, can we go to the vote? All those in favour of flying the flag for a month?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And those against?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Abstentions? 2. Okay, so this is carried. We now move to the second part of the motion, and that is, we are currently flying a standard LGBT flag, which is the one with the rainbow flag. And your proposal is to replace this with one that reflects the entire range of, sorry, all the letters.
Again, it's just for consideration. We should be inclusive of all the community, and that's why I've put forward the flag. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair thought said that you might have more of an opinion on the flag, so we know what that is.
As noted in my report, the research that we have done, the 6-colour standard flag is the one that is currently internationally recognised. I appreciate that there are, and I have given you an example of various different progress flags. There isn't an agreed standard as to which one of those is, I don't know, really correct, but they are all different varieties of that flag. My suggestion at this time is that, well, they are not internationally or even governmentally recognised. We would have to apply for planning permission in order to fly a non-standard flag. It's going to cost, but with the cost of the flag and the planning permission, I'll have put the sums in there, but it's going to be about £400 in order to fly a non-standard flag. And there is nothing to say that that flag might change again in the future as well. So at the moment, and this is purely a pragmatic suggestion, would be that we stick with the standard recognised flag as used across the country, and not move forward to one of the non-standard newer versions.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Drayton.
Just while I would love to see a more inclusive flag, I feel that for the general population of Buckingham, the fact that there are going to be some people, unfortunately, that will have an issue with us flying the flag for a month, rather than potentially alienate those people more by then having to pay money for a new flag and pay money for planning permission, I would kind of be willing to go along with sticking with the old flag for now, and then that gives us room for improvement for next year, because we can then potentially progress and build on it.
That's what I've done.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll go along with what the Chair Clark said really, and also if we were going to look at supporting the working group to put something on in the future, I would rather any bits of money went to that to support the group and to put something on, whether it was have a market stall or something. I would rather us pay, or to go towards something like that that's going to be worthwhile.
Okay. Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, I thought about this a lot in advance as well, and obviously I favour the more inclusive flag that includes trans and lots of other dimensions, the plus bit in the LGBTQ plus. However, I think there is value in, let's do it one step at a time. But I would propose that we go for the standard flag, but that we also write to our MP and ask that the law is amended such that local authorities like us or other agencies if they wish can choose another flag without having to go through the rigmarole of asking the planning permission. There may have been good reasons for that when it was put in, perhaps, I don't know, But I think given that, times change and people move on and ideas flex and everything else, that for me would be a reasonable compromise for this forthcoming year, and maybe we'll debate it again next year. So I'm saying, yeah, let's go for the flag that doesn't require planning permission, the standard rainbow colour one, but let's also write a well-argued letter to our MP saying, well, do we really need planning permission for other versions? Can you look into this, blah, 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 blah. I happily trust the town clerk to write something. If she wants to consult anybody else around the table, I'm sure she will, but I happily trust the town clerk to write such a letter.
I would, and I'm not here to be government spokesperson at all, as I understand it, the purpose behind it is to stop people basically buying any old advert or anything they want, saying it's not an advert, it's flag. And that's why there is a strict list of types of flag that can be flown, and at this stage the only one on it is the 6 colour.
So I'm proposing that we still write to the MP. I hear what you say, town clerk. But we could simply say, why not add this one as well? To add it to the list.
Yeah, Councillor Marley.
Is that a proposal?
Yes, it is, but if nobody wants to second it, please.
I'll second that.
All right, okay. It's a proposal now. Yeah.
I was going to second.
Okay, so we have a proposal for an we have 2 proposals for
Well,
amendments.
in fact, I'm proposing that we go for the rainbow flag along with what other people have said. And as part of that, we also write to the MP seeking there to be some sort of ministerial change that would allow a more inclusive flag to be flown if people choose. That's what I'm proposing.
Yeah. Okay, so to summarise, because we need to vote on this amendment, the amendment is that the amended motion is, the way I understand it, is that we fly the flag for a month and we fly the standard rainbow flag for a month in this coming year, and that we write to our MP that he. Well, actually, no, he can't change the law.
No.
So is the MP the right person to write to? Yeah. Okay, we write to the MP to ask him to work towards the inclusion of a more inclusive flag on the list of permitted flags to be flown.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you like my version, Chair?
Yeah. Yes, please.
The amendment would be, so we will keep the first part of, Councillor Willett's motion, and then the amendment will be to fly the 6 colour flag for 1 month, and to write to our MP to ask for his support that the progress flag be added to the list of approved flags.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Are there 2 separate motions then we've got to vote on?
No.
No,
we're going to vote on amended.
I may not agree with I agree with the first one, I may not agree with the second one to write to the MP.
Yeah, agree, me too. Likewise.
Okay, it's because Councillor Harvey proposed it as one single motion.
Okay.
For the sake of peace, we'll make it 2 proposals then. We'll propose 6 colour rainbow flag rather than the inclusive progress flag. 1 proposal, seconded by Councillor Willett.
Yeah.
Second proposal, we write to the MP saying progress flag really ought to be on this as well, seconded by.
Yeah, so we've already voted on the fact that we're flying it for a month.
Yeah.
We are now voting on the fact, on the amendment that we continue to fly the rainbow flag. That has been proposed by Councillor Harvey and seconded by by Councillor Ahmed. Can we vote on this one, that we continue to fly the rainbow flag? All those in favour? That
I think that's
is unanimous. And then there's a further amendment by Councillor Harvey that we write to the MP to do what again?
Ask for his support that the progress flag be added to the list of approved flags.
Yes.
I second that one.
And so proposed by Councillor Harvey, seconded by Councillor O'Donoghue.
No, Willett, let Willett.
Oh, Councillor Willett.
do that.
Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah.
No worries.
All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Against?
3.
Any abstentions?
1.
Do we need to vote on the whole motion?
No.
As amended? I think we've done it, haven't we? Yeah.
I'll clear on what they've done.
Yeah, I think we're clear what we voted on. So thank you very much. And we have got the next agenda point. Another further motion by Councillor Willett.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. It's me again. Hopefully this one will be less arduous and time constrained. The council has a proud history of supporting our armed forces. To commemorate their sacrifice and celebrate all of our service personnel on the 29th of June each year, we shall raise the flag of the armed forces. We do this for the Merchant Navy Day, and I only think that we should extend that to our armed forces as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor O'Donoghue.
I'll second that, please.
Does anybody wish to speak to that one? Yeah, Councillor.
Was mentioned, why do we fly a flag? The flag originally was a rallying point for an army. But that's got nothing to do with the situation in Buckingham. Armed Forces Day flag is slightly different. The Armed Forces Day flag is the Union flag with Armed Forces Day underneath it. It's a pity we're not going to fly that for a month. Each regiment is very loyal to its own flag. And it's been very hard to get the services to agree to an actual flag. The Air Force Association has its own flag, the Navy and the Army. And the closest we get is because of the freedom of Buckingham given to rifles. The rifles are very loyal to their own flag. However, there is some weight, and we could get, as it's only for one day, we could get an Armed Forces Day flag. It's not an Armed Forces flag, because there's no such thing. It's an Armed Forces Day flag.
Councillor Harvey.
I would support the motion. But there is the question whether we have to apply for planning permission to apply this flag.
No, it's on the list.
Oh, yeah. Is it on the list? Oh, it's all right. Fair enough then. Okay. No worries.
Are we happy to amend the motion to say the Armed Forces Day flag?
I'm happy to amend that motion.
Yeah.
Councillor Gately.
Yes, thank you. Can I just say that given that we've raised the Merchant Navy flag for some while, it seems an illogicality that we're not equally giving that support in that way to our armed forces. So I just think it makes sense for us to be doing this.
Thank you. So we have a motion proposed by Councillor Willett and seconded by Councillor O'Donoghue. All those in favour, please.
That is unanimous.
And then point number 30. Thank you everybody for that. Thank you, Councillor Willett, for the motions.
Thank
We
you.
now have a motion by Councillor Harvey.
Okay, it's a night of flags. Evidently. It's the way it's spelled, literally. But I was at a trade union meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't know this day existed, which is a day that when people are meant to commemorate, note that many people are still around the world, and probably here locally too, getting injured, sometimes seriously, sometimes very seriously, in the workplace. And this is one day which is set aside for people just to remember that and note that. And I thought, well, that's significant. Part of my career history is I was involved as a health and safety rep at one point. I was also a health promotion officer with a brief to look at health in the workplace as well. So I was around the time when we were writing smoking policies. What were they? Anyway, and I just think it would be a nice thing to do. So it doesn't involve the purchase of any kind of flag, but it just simply involves lowering our existing flag to half mast, and we put out a press release at the time to say what it is. It's a small thing, And it might mean something to some of our residents who perhaps in the past have been injured, or maybe are still suffering under emphysema or something like that, as a result of some chemical that they were exposed to in the workplace, many, perhaps even decades ago. So I think it would be again, an inclusive thing, and a compassionate thing, for the town council to do. And it will involve one of the officers, perhaps with others of us present, just to note that perhaps on that day.
Thank you. Councillor Gately.
Yes, thank you. I fully endorse the sentiments here, and two of my husband's work colleagues were killed in a work-related accident many years ago, and that was appalling. And I still remember the shockwaves that went out as a result of that. However, despite the press release that would go with it, I think if people walked past and saw our flag at half-mast, it would be could be misinterpreted, and I would be concerned about that. I wonder whether there are other ways that we can promote the, the whole notion of people should be able to go to work and not risk their lives by going to work. I don't know what else we can do, but I just feel this could be misinterpreted.
I do want to second Councillor Harvey's motion, because I agree with it wholeheartedly. In Buckingham, my neighbour passed away due to work-related exposure to asbestos many decades ago. And, there's still people suffering from this. And globally, right now, there's people who are dying every day trying to mine for substances that we use, and let alone the sweatshops for our fast fashion and consumerism in these countries. So I think I understand what Councillor Gately is saying as well, but I think if we were to have our flag at half-mast, hopefully we'd have a good press campaign beforehand up to the day to inform everyone this is the reason why, whether that's through Facebook or, X or Instagram. I think as long as we promote why we're doing this, maybe put information out there, hopefully people will realise. And if they don't, people will be able to ask questions and we can get a conversation going.
I believe there's a strict protocol in flying a flag. I think it's something that town clerk should check on. I don't think we should fly it at half-mast, because it's always indicative of somebody passing away, a senior person, or somebody within the town council. That's the only reason we've ever flown a flag at half-mast. And I fully support. I lost my grandfather in an industrial accident, and so I do have a certain amount of sympathy there. I think we should advertise how many people die within, like, Buckinghamshire, United Kingdom, or worldwide. It is very serious, and certainly overseas there's a lot more people killed. Although I've been impressed when I've been travelling around different countries, how much their safety regime has increased. But I'm against flying the flag at half-mast, purely because I always think it represents a certain thing. And I don't think the majority of people will recognise why it's being flown in Buckingham at half-mast on one day. We should advertise how many people are killed or died in industrial accidents.
Okay, do you have any way of informing us on this?
I have just panicked people. Well, the advice from flag makers who are quite well respected is organisations and communities use lowering the flag as a symbol of mourning, distress, or to salute the fallen. So I'm not aware of anything. I haven't actually done any in-depth research, councillor, so I'm not aware of any reason why we wouldn't be able to do this.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to check, obviously the Lord Lieutenancy would have a ruling on it.
Councillor Harvey?
I thought of lowering the flag at half-mast, and it seemed to be the only thing that we could do, but I'm hearing what people are saying. So maybe an alternative would be that we put some sort of display in our window there to explain things perhaps in more depth than maybe half-mast flag would do. So I'm happy to amend the motion to say that instead of saying, it does say, the council agrees to display in the window highlighting this day.
Yeah.
How would that be with people to amend that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd
The
second that.
seconder, yeah.
And no.
So let's do that instead then. And I'm happy to work with the officers to create that. And I'm sure there's some resources we can get from trade unions that would, that would add to some of the stuff there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I had a hand from councillor.
Addressed.
Okay, thank you. So the amended motion. Councillor, you want to read it to us, please, again?
Yes, the motion will be almost exactly the same, but the final line would be, this council agrees to put a display in the window of the chamber with information on the day. I may tweak that slightly to something slightly better.
Yeah, that was acceptable.
Okay, so that has been, this amendment has been proposed by councillor Harvey and seconded by councillor Ahmed. All those in favour?
That's everyone, Chair.
Unanimous, thank you very much. We now come to point number 14, an amendment to the financial regulations, where we have a report from the compliance and projects manager. Do you want to speak briefly there?
This is a minor amendment that has come up with back of the internal auditor's report. Basically, as Steve has written it, it is fairly straightforward. It doesn't really change much. It's just a slight tweak to the way that we record it.
The resources there.
It was discussed that resources, but obviously the regulations for the full council matter.
Yeah.
The financial regulations will still be presented again to the full council for ratification in May as well. So this amendment is just for this financial year.
And it is, just to summarise, it is merely the introduction of an index number, isn't it? And for that to be minuted in the public minutes.
Yeah, instead of the full document, which is covered in everybody's signatures.
Yeah. So I'm quite happy to propose that. If somebody would second that. Yes, seconded by councillor O'Donoghue. Is there a need to discuss this again? So all those in favour, please.
Again, unanimous.
Yeah, thank you. Then. Number 15, to note the election costs breakdown and agree the payment of £20,748. Councillor Harvey.
I don't think we should pay. And the reason I say this is I think we're being exploited. Because there was a Shire Council election happening at the same time in the North Ward. So I fail to understand why the costs for the North Ward should be the same as the costs for the South Ward. Because the North Ward, I'm assuming, the envelopes would have gone out with the notice of both elections in. There were two separate envelopes, but there was staff were all in, there was still the same number of staff in the polling station. And surely some of their work was done for the Shire Council election. Therefore, I'm questioning whether we should be paying this actual amount, because it seems that North Ward should be a lot less than what it was. But I'm happy to take obviously here for him on town bar.
Yeah, I did query it myself, councillor, about saying I was advised that because the county, the two votes for the county election were received in advance of the number of signatures required for the town, the county ones had already been submitted before those signatures to generate the town council election were received. So that meant that the costs were not split. There is a slight reduction for the sharing of the costs for both boards for the community centre and the staff and the like, but all of the polling costs that they weren't shared. The findings were out.
Just as a comment on using chair's privilege here, that doesn't appear logical, but well, it appears logical in a sort of way, but not in a way that you think actual costs are.
The county because you only need 2 signatures to generate a county election and it's 6 for a town council election, they were forced to issue the paperwork for the county election. And then they,
Okay, so
and then they
so
got
that's
the
more time. Right. Thank you. So in that case, I suppose we can only note and must agree the payment.
May I ask where this payment will be coming from?
We have enough in my general reserve, so I will cost it against elections because that's what it is. And we have a small amount in a nearby reserve for election. But I haven't anticipated that we need this amount, but we can cover it from our general reserve and it will be budgeted for the next, the budget resources looked at has already got half of the payment to cover what we expect to be the election in 2024.
That's a driver.
What the staffing costs are that are like £4.5 grand. What do they mean? Is that the counters? Because I'm pretty sure the counters were, most of them were volunteers by the candidates.
So you would have had the polling station staff who were there from the polling station, which is quite early, 7 p.m. until 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So that's fairly large number of people, and then yes, you do have the county, the returning officer, the officials that need to be there, and it's the staffing as well of actually putting the whole thing together.
Presumably some of your hearts and her officers trying to collect all the information, put it all together, so they don't print themselves, basically, those papers. Yes, Councillor Donahue.
Thank you, but going back to that, staff are already there because the polling station is open for the county election. So why are we paying for the staff to be there again for the town council election? They're there already, they're there from 7 till 10 p.m.
I'm advised that we split the cost between them. That is our share of the costs. It isn't the full amount. Yeah. I mean, I can only tell you what I've been told, but I did query it and this is what I've had back.
Councillor Harvey.
I mean, there may or may not be a touch of early Madoff economics in this perhaps, but the fact is we don't really have a choice, do we?
No.
We've got to pay them.
Exactly.
So,
If you want democracy, this is what you pay.
yeah. So if there is no, can we go to the vote on this one? I think we need to formulate a vote. No, it says also to agree the payment.
Abstaining. On the reasons.
Yes, yeah, in fact, so will I. Does somebody wish to propose that we agree the payment? No. Councillor Gately, and then seconded by Councillor Tribe. All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Anybody against? Abstentions?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Sorry. Didn't see a hand down.
Okay. Thank you for that. Then the new cemetery timeline request and the opposite time involved for a report from the town clerk.
Yes, very briefly, this has been discussed at the last couple of full councils. It was a proposal from Councillor Secretary to write a summary of the main hurdles in reaching where we are with the cemetery project. At the following meeting, I requested a little bit further guidance as to how much time and scope this report wanted, because it was a little bit vague. So I have offered up 3 potentials, and I would like members to tell me which one of the 3 you would like me to.
Councillor Morgan.
So it's a short summary. At the end of the day, we're not writing a historical record of the whole event. All we want is a brief summary, and I think that's quite sufficient.
Councillor Harvey.
I would agree. I think at this stage, a short summary would be adequate, but I think I'd like to suggest that in terms of the actual, is there a recommendation? Agree on with those options. I guess I would suggest that we go for the short summary first, look at it, and then decide whether we want anything further. So we don't rule out anything longer, depending on how short the short summary is and whether it has some of the key points. And if it does, I'm sure it'll be adequate. But if there's a need, if there's a demand for something a bit longer, then I don't think we should be putting in place a motion tonight that prevents that from happening, is what I would say. So I'd say agree the short summary, but with the caveat we may want something longer.
It's not an option, it's three options.
I know I'm proposing it, Andy. I'm proposing it.
I would say, Councillor, there's nothing to stop members, if you're, I'll produce a short summary, read it, and then if the following meeting wishes to then want to expand it on, there's nothing that the rules are out at all, this isn't.
I just want to be subject to the 6 month rule and that kind of stuff, is what I'm thinking.
Well, no, because I would have produced a short summary, so that would have happened,
True.
and then if you wish.
True. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Option one then.
Councillor Gaten?
Well, I was merely going to support Councillor Mordew's proposal.
Okay, Councillor Draper? I was just gonna say to remind ourselves why Council Secretary wanted the report as a reference document so that future councils could learn from it. So I think as long as Councillor Harvey said, we can still potentially produce a more educational document in the future, then I'll have to go with option one.
Okay, so there's a proposal from Councillor Mordew to opt for the report summary, which has been seconded by Councillor Gately. All those in favour, please.
Please share that unanimous.
Yes. Yeah. Then the next point number 17, regarding the awards procedure, to receive a report from the town clerk, to receive the minutes of the awards group working group meeting, and to agree the awards policy.
My report is 53 on this because the work has been done by the working group that was appointed by council. Their minutes have been submitted, and from those minutes we have put forward what we policy based on the minutes and the agreements from the working group, and that's what's been submitted. And I don't know, Councillor Harvey was the chair of that committee, so.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think the minutes and the arising policy reflect the discussion, which went on longer than I expected, I have to say. I thought it was going to be a short, but it actually had a very, very good and fulsome debate about some of these topics. So I would certainly commend the policy to members. I hope it's acceptable. I mean, we had a diversity of opinions amongst all of us, and the officers took part as well, and that there was a good workshop on that basis. And I hope that we've got it to a point where it's a bit more clear. I think one of the innovations that I think will help the process is that rather than come up with names on the night, that people are encouraged, and indeed it's in the policy, to submit names, in sufficient time, that they go out, need some notes, so that people know who they are and who are not voting for. Because occasionally it's like say, oh yeah, but what about Fred?
Yeah.
And what about Celia? And it has got a bit chaotic in the past. So this is meant to kind of regularise that a little bit. One issue that was left outstanding was whether we have a posthumous award, and that was prompted by a reflection on Councillor Isham, who sadly died, as we know, in post, and was never given any kind of accolade, because we don't really have anything for a person who's passed on. So that's something maybe just to float for people to think about. Perhaps bring something back to a future meeting. We can't discuss it tonight, but it was raised. But I would commend the policy to you. I hope you find it acceptable.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Go to the vote.
Is anybody, so that was the proposal, seconded by Councillor Gately. All those in favour? Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you very much. To receive reports from Buckinghamshire County Councillors. We have received a written report from Councillor Signatories. Does anybody have questions based on that? And Councillor Osborne.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. I just would like to just give a quick recap on what's been done in the past year within Buckingham and villages. I know that we're all aware of the additional funding that was put towards the roads. I believe we also been improving the roads within Buckingham and the environs. There was also additional machines brought by Buckinghamshire Council towards road repairs, and that resulted in improved turnaround times when it comes to road repairs. There was also additional funding put towards gritting of roads for the parts of that's coming forward. That's been going on continuously. If any of the councillors or any of the residents are aware of any roads that need or they're worried about not being gritted, please report that on Fix My Street and it will be picked up there. I thought it was a pleasure to announce that we've been able to secure funding for the repairs of the footway of the Market Hill. Hopefully that will be going on sometime next year, early first quarter. I'd also like to report on the success of our schools with the ongoing Ofsted reports or Ofsted inspections. All our schools have either maintained a good outstanding report, which I think has been quite great. We also have the relocation of Whatstown School, which I'm sure a few of us are aware of, and I think that will be helpful and beneficial to our children who will be able to access those facilities. When it comes to the area of planning, there's currently the local plan, which Buckinghamshire is currently working on. I am aware that a lot of parish and town councils have been, and the councils have been contributing towards that. I think it will be a good way for us to have a plan to better protect and identify how we want our town and county as a whole to develop going forward. There were issues around homelessness and warm areas. Particularly, I'm sure we saw the two gentlemen who were around Waitrose sometime last year. They've been rehoused to the best of my knowledge. The county has also provided warm spaces around the county. For Buckingham, the library is a warm space, and if anybody is aware of anybody who needs warm residence during this period, there is a line to call. I think it's www.streetlink.org.uk. I will forward that to the town clerk afterwards. I'm sure she has it already. There's also a telephone number to call there as well, which would enable them access the facilities. A key issue, which I know a lot of us are very, very much concerned with, and has been climate change. That is an issue that the county has taken quite seriously, and based on the last reports we received, we've had over 145,000 trees planted across Buckinghamshire County, including Orton Park, which I think has been contributed a lot towards improving our net zero targets. It's also my understanding that we have reduced our emissions by 73.4, which is close to 75% target, which we have for 2030. So we are on course to meet that target and hopefully exceed it. I'm aware that we know of the banking hub. I would like to commend Councillor Modu, who led that initiative and ensured it succeeded. If that was under the auspices of the community board, but it's a thrill to have banking back in Buckingham because we're all worried about that. There was, unfortunately, Councillor Signatories not here today. I did read his report and I noted his comments, which he made based on the motion he brought before the full council in December. He did mention there how the motion was not fully supported by all the Buckingham County councillors. What he omitted to mention was the reason why it was supported. So whilst the intention behind the motion is laudable, which is to ensure that each councillor has the right to call in any application they deem fit. But what he omitted was the fact that the constitution, which he sought to change, was currently being worked on by a working group. Hence, such a motion, if granted, will have fettered the discretion of our committee. Hence why majority of the councillors of the county thought it was not the right procedure to amend the constitution, and thought it'd be better to be referred to the working group led to them for them to decide. So that was the position that was taken in the county. I know that was reflected in there, but I thought it was a point also bring it to the information of the members of this council. Thank you very much.
I will allow Councillor Stutchbury to respond to that.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a good example of wherever the actual motion was presented to the council in its narrative. The vote was taken as it was. What Councillor Adey won't know is that there was conversations from June until the motion was submitted to try and achieve getting a situation where the motion could be agreed. There was long discussions with democratic services, legal services, planning, which I can provide correspondence. And it's evident that we have large applications in Buckingham, which do not go to committee and are not called in under the rules of the 3-member call-in. So on that basis, it seemed logical with the Buckinghamshire plan being made, large developments coming to Buckingham, and things happening which we have no control over, that we need to move swiftly so that residents have a voice. It's not about predetermining an application. Obviously, Adey and I are in disagreement over the principles of that. That's fine. The realities was the vote. The options were there to move swiftly towards a 1-member, 1 vote. All members are elected to Buckinghamshire Council on the same basis. They all have the same legal right to vote. But in this area of planning, they seem not to. It seems a natural justice that that should be done. Wasn't agreed. And of course, we do have the advantage that in 6 months, we can return to the subject in Buckinghamshire Council in some way or form. We are where we are. The vote was taken. The webcast is there. Those who spoke, you can see what was said. It's all in the public domain. And the facts are all with legal and democratic services. So we are in disagreement. He's every right to his view. We just don't agree. And that's just how it is.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, considering, yes, I will come obviously to your report. I haven't forgotten you. This particular issue, I think we should not at this stage discuss further because time is pressing. So unless you really feel that there is more to be said on what went on in Buckinghamshire County Council, Buckinghamshire Unitary Council, I think we've had 2 sides of the debate. I would like to move on to Councillor Mordew's report, please.
You know, I never did do long reports. I attended 49 meetings, either on Zoom or face-to-face, since the last council meeting, where I didn't give a report. I've been asked to join the Silverstone Circuit liaison group to represent the Norfolk town, and also the Bedfordshire and Luton and Milton Keynes Joint Healthcare Scrutiny Committee, which is a bit of a mouthful, the same as the BOBS, which covers Buckinghamshire, West Berkshire, and Oxfordshire, Buckinghamshire, and that's Berkshire West. I think on the Standards Board, we're looking at the situation in Wickham. I know it doesn't affect us, but Wickham is the only area in Buckinghamshire that has not got a parish. And the Standards Group subgroup is looking at whether they should have a parish or not. They chose not to have one in 73, but that was up to them. The model street collection licence, which came up for review, has been adopted by the council, and that restricts the collecting hours for charities, particularly at Christmas. And it does impose other restrictions on charities operating outside of its area, which does have repercussions if you take it literally. I'll say no more than that. Sometimes you can't always take things literally because it doesn't work. The planning's already been mentioned. There's a cross-party working group, subgroup of the audit committee, looking at the boundary changes and how they affect various elements within the constitution, and one being the call-in. There, I said it'd be short, and that's it. Any questions?
That's a winner.
Just an odd one for me is, why would they restrict? What was the purpose of restricting charity funds? I mean, I'm not, you know, pointing the blame at you, but I just am a bit flummoxed by why.
I cherish those words, right?
Yeah.
I wonder the same reason. It's actually because they want one policy for the whole of Buckinghamshire. The whole of Buckinghamshire is pretty big. And just give you one instance, one item in there is for crossing ward boundaries. Now, some organisations in the town, same as we, as a council here, we don't recognise the ward boundary. We don't talk about whether we're from Fishersfield or Buckingham North or Buckingham South. We talk about Buckingham. And that's why I sort of said, well, if you try and question some of the things, you don't get anywhere. I think the main thing is that we work together, and for instance, the Rotary have a Santa float, Taylor is a Santa float, but we do have a meeting so that two Santas don't turn up on the same street on the same night. And this is how things go in our area. We work together, and I think that's going to continue. The only thing we've got to bear in mind is, on the charity collection, the most important thing is that they have to be finished the door to door by 8 o'clock in the evening, which is a reasonable hour, really. They did want it at 7, and I did go against that, but 7 was too early, so we sat on late. Does that help you?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It was a question for Addy, so am I allowed to ask?
Please ask.
Thanks. Going back to the working group you were talking about, so 2 questions on that. Is it just the one main political party that's involved in that working group? And the second point is, second question is, when are the results of that going to be, like, is there an end date to the working group? You know.
Yes, there is an end date. I can't confirm that now because I don't want to get to that. I don't know off the top of my head. As to the composition of the working group, I can't say. Well, I know it wouldn't be one political party. There's proportional representation that
Okay,
county users to attention all parties or all groups, so we call them, groups are represented in whatever committees been set up.
Brilliant, thank you. Cheers.
The cross-party working group was mentioned on the application. Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, I have got a question, but first I'd just like to say thank you to our 4 shire councillors for being part of the town council. I think our town council benefits from having 4 shire councillors present who can keep us in touch with what's happening county-wide. So thank you for all the work you've done this year. It's great. I'd also say thanks particularly to Howard for his work on the hub, and I think also acknowledge that our compliance manager started his career working in that bank, and also was the manager in that bank, and was glad to be back there last week, celebrating the opening of it and the new Phoenix sort of version. But my question is really about the new arrangements coming into force on the 1st of January for taking rubbish to the tip, because that's been hugely controversial. Speaking as the kind of one of the admin team for the local social media group, it's an ongoing sore. What has been in place in the past, people not able to take things up there that they're creating, just because they're doing work on their own house, and putting in a new sink or whatever, which people can do. I did it once, but you can't take that stuff up there. Now you can, and it seems to me that the system that's been put in place is even worse than what it was before. It is probably, I'm sure it's compliant with the government's imposition of the relaxation of charges, but it does strike me that it is actually going to make things worse for a lot of people, including, in fact, I think it's making it even worse for the tradespeople who do this work, and so forth. So I'm wondering really whether DIY enthusiasts and tradespeople were involved in the design of the new system. Because it strikes me that as people, they're the ones who are going to be using it. Were they consulted? Were they engaged? Or was this dreamt up by a few councillors in a darkened room? It's a simple question.
Actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, he's gonna,
Okay.
he's gonna take two together.
All right.
Oh, but do you want to ask?
I just said Robin has got his hand up as well.
My apologies, I'm losing it, losing the overview here.
I hate to say it, that if you listen to the discussion at the cabinet, and truth is truth, the leader of the council, I don't believe, was particularly pleased with these changes, because they're not changes I understand that the council wanted. They were changes that the government has asked the council to implement. Now, if you watch the webcast of the cabinet meeting when they discussed this, which I was present at, the leader of the council was, let's say, less than convinced by it, although I believe that he was being given these regulations and it's a top-down thing. That's my memory of the meeting. So I don't think it's a collection of councillors in this case which has made the decision. It's Whitehall asking the council to do so, because I do believe that the leader of the council was worried about cost and worried about other things. And I'm not here to speak for him, but if you watch the webcast of the Buckinghamshire Council cabinet meeting, I don't think he was in much disagreement with you, John.
Councillor Mordew, sorry.
No, it was something that came down from government because of the restrictions that council were putting on people with depositing rubbish from doing DIY and so on. But I think it's up to the councils how they interpret it and how they deal with it. In Buckinghamshire, they use a licence systems, and you have to apply for a licence online, which not everyone has access to the internet, especially in the rural north. But that's the system they came up with. So if you want to take your old bar down to the tip, you have to apply for a licence and then take it down. For most people who live in Buckingham, it's probably right. For the villages, it's a little bit different. But that's the system they've come up with. Right, Ryan, was there something else you wanted to ask for?
I just wanted to ask a general question to all councillors. Just something that cropped up in the meeting was the Fix My Streets. I welcome the speed in which they do, but the quality sometimes is to be, is lacking severely. Taking a point about Western Avenue Road, the Western Avenue Road right at the bottom, crossing onto the Brackley Road, is continually in disrepair. That to me, are there any measures to include any quality in there, or is it just going to be the same old stuff? I'm not a road expert.
I know the whole you mean, it keeps on reappearing.
Yeah.
And they do inspect it, but they haven't got enough inspectors to inspect every repair within Buckinghamshire. So what they do is a random inspection of the contracts that have been let out, which is understandable because there's so many potholes in this place. And it's not just Buckinghamshire. So I think all you can do is keep on its Fix My Street, and we can raise it at himself. Robin can raise it with the budget. No, adding myself. And that's right. Can raise it with the local area technician, and he will keep on top of it.
I'd also like to include that the hill going down towards the King's Head from over the Crescent, that is now, I believe the foundations are now exposed and have been for years. Are there any plans for
Road?
That's it, yeah. So over the Crescent going down to Morton Road. The big hill there, you know, conjoining onto Cobham Crescent, Cobham Close. That seems to be, are there any plans for refurbishing that or?
I don't know. I would have to look, because there's a programme of works and they tend to do, they combine it all together in one go to do sort of bits of Buckingham. But some of these are so far in the future that you lose track of what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. So
Yeah.
I will make a note and I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
So use the word to myself, but it's for a very short report. I haven't got a huge amount of report yet because I've only been a unitary councillor for 6 weeks. I have been in my first council meeting, which was a lot shorter than I expected it to be, weirdly so actually, but that's a different story. I will be joining the Health and Social Care Select Committee, but I haven't been to the first meeting there yet. I had a meeting with the area technician on Friday, which was outside the rotas of general meetings because basically get to know each other. And those particular bits did not come up in this. The one thing that I might relate relates to the flooding at Nelson Street, where he has told me that work has been raised now to replace a collapsed section of piping there, which will hopefully at least relieve some of the, so they finally found which bit is actually blocked, and that should hopefully happen soon. I mean, he was quite hopeful it would happen soon in the new year. That's and there's little other bits and pieces I could report on, but won't. Yes, Councillor O'Donoghue.
Thank you. I think that would be good news for the shops along that little stretch, especially because they can't get insurance for their properties anymore because of the flooding.
Yeah.
So that'll be good for them.
Yeah. So the worst affected houses are numbers 33 to number 37. I've spoken with one of them there, but yes, it's been going on for years.
Yeah.
This will not fix the problem if the river goes over the edge.
Yeah.
If it comes from the river, it won't fix it. But that particular type where it's pipe where it's not draining, hopefully that will fix it.
Good. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, Mayor, a notice came out today about Market Hill. It's going to be closed for a week at the end of January, daytime repairs to the footpaths, which have been going on forever. But in the TTRO, there's no mention of the Tuesday market.
Yeah, I have asked Bethany to make contact with TTRO and just now, everything's okay. It's in progress and I'll let you know as soon as we have this one.
I haven't seen that one, but it could be the paving outside King's Head sign, or could be something else.
Yeah, they're closing the whole street then.
Yeah.
So yes, the area technician told me that was up coming up as well in January, so it's been preempted. So if we may, we now move on to slide number 19, the climate emergency action plan. And given the time that it is, I would obviously still invite comments, but would ask everybody to limit themselves to essential ones at this stage, if you would be so good. Are we just happy to note it then? Yeah. We also have had a response from Buckinghamshire Council to a letter that we wrote following a motion, I think, from Councillor Harvey. Again, unless there is an urgent wish to discuss this, I would recommend, yes, Councillor Harvey.
I would just simply say, I think we should note it. I'm not happy with what the Shire Council said in this respect. But obviously, this is all on the bridge now. I think we'll just wait and see if hopefully it never will. But if there's a future code of conduct complaint, then we may react differently now that we've got this information. So let's keep our powder dry.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
So we're just, everybody happy to know that.
Yeah.
Agenda 121, action list to review and discuss the action report. A lot of the points have been on the agenda. Is there the need to discuss any others? Is Councillor?
Yeah, Mayor, a couple of items, if I may, Mayor. On page 35 and 36, Buckingham Neighbourhood Development Plan has been wrongly initialed as NHDP. That could be corrected in the
I'm very sorry, I have a little bit of a.
Don't worry about that.
I've got to make a bit easy.
Page 37, planning appeal, inquiry is spelled with an E twice, it should be an I for. And I can add to that, this is to do with the Morton Road 3 appeal planning inquiry. A notice has come out this week saying the inspector's report has been sent to the Secretary of State for consideration. In accordance with the above act, I'm writing to let you know a decision will be issued on or before the 4th of March, 2024. So the inspector did his job. His deadline was December the 13th. He delivered it to the Secretary of State on the 4th. And then finally, Councillor Stutchbury's motion, which follows that on page 37. It says at the end of the action required, it said, noting we are writing our neighbourhood development plan, the Vale of Aylesbury plan and Buckinghamshire Council's work on the local plan. The Vale of Aylesbury plan should be deleted. We are not, of course, writing that and we're not involved in it. Thank you.
It's also now. Nobody's writing what they're about to do, I'm sure we have this.
But I thought you noticed the motion was verbatim, so I'll go back and check what was in the minutes on that.
Any other, thank you, Councillor Cole.
Thank you.
Any other comments or remarks on the action list? So in that case, we have reviewed and discussed it. Reports from representatives of outside bodies. We have the minutes of the Buckingham Youth Club AGM on 27th of September.
I'd just like to present those minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. So they are so noted. Then you have received a list of events attended by the mayor.
Excellent.
And, chair's announcement. Do I have chair's announcements? No,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We need some more mince pies up there, any left. The date of the next meeting, interim council, Monday the 8th of January, and full council, Monday the 18th of March.
And they're presumably 2024, not 2023.
Yes, well spotted, well spotted. Just as well I didn't read that bit out. That's the problem.
My apologies for the January one, please. Oh, no. Oh, yes, okay, yeah. I don't know how many times I've heard that actually. Must be about 15 now.
So then, is everybody in agreement that we now move into private session?
Yeah.
For the next item?
Agreed.
Okay.